It was a cold and rainy evening. Dark clouds covered the sky. The wind was strong, and the trees moved like they were crying. Armand stood alone in the graveyard. He was holding a small umbrella, but his clothes were wet. His eyes were red, not from the rain, but from the tears he had cried for days. He looked down at the grave. It was his mother's. She had passed away just a week ago. "You left without telling me your truth," Armand whispered, kneeling beside the grave. "You were always silent about your past." "Why, Amma?" He gently touched the headstone. His fingers shook. He had so many questions, but she was gone now. Only silence answered him. That night, Armand returned home with his mother's diary. It was old, the pages yellow, but the handwriting was clear. His mother wrote often but never let anyone read it. For years, he had respected her privacy, but now something inside told him to open it. He sat near the fireplace, opened the first page, and saw something strange. It wasn't a diary entry, it was a letter, folded and placed carefully inside. The envelope had only one line written on it: "If you're brave enough, stay." Armand felt a chill in his spine. The handwriting was his mother's, but it looked rushed, like she was scared while writing it. He opened the letter slowly. "Dear Armand, if you are reading this, then I am gone. I never told you everything. I couldn't. Some truths are heavy, and I didn't want you to carry them. But now, I have no choice. There is a house. It is in a village called Rygar. Go there. Open the wooden chest in the bedroom. Inside, you will find the truth. But remember, not all truths bring peace. If you're brave enough, stay. Because once you enter that house, nothing will be the same again." Amma Armand's hands shook as he finished reading. The fire cracked behind him, but the heat didn't reach his skin. His heart beat fast. Why had his mother hidden this? What was in that house? He looked at the clock. Midnight. He didn't sleep that night. He kept reading the letter again, and again. The words, "not all truths bring peace," stayed in his mind like a whisper. The next morning, he packed a bag, took the old diary, and began his journey to Rygar. The village was small and far. It took him 7 hours by train, and then 2 more by taxi. When he finally reached, it was evening again. The sun was setting, and the sky turned orange and red. The village was quiet. Too quiet, Armand asked an old man about the house. The man looked at him with wide eyes. "That house?" the man said slowly. "No one lives there now. No one goes near it. People say strange things happen inside." "But why?" Armand asked. The old man didn't answer. He just walked away, shaking his head. Armand followed the directions from the letter and finally stood in front of the house. It was old and looked forgotten. Vines had grown on the walls and the windows were covered in dust. The gate made a loud creaking sound as he pushed it open. Inside, the house smelled like old wood and thyme. The furniture was still there, covered with white sheets. The air was heavy. He found the bedroom. His mother's words came back to him. "Open the wooden chest." He searched the room. Under the bed, he found it. A large wooden chest with carvings on it. He knelt down, placed his hand on it, and paused. Something didn't feel right. As he opened the chest, dust flew into the air. Inside, there were letters, photographs, and something wrapped in a red cloth. But before he could touch it, he heard something, a sound, a soft thud. He turned quickly. The bedroom door had closed by itself. Then he heard footsteps. Slow, soft, upstairs. He was not alone. His breath became heavy. He took a step back from the chest. Was someone else in the house? Or was something else here? He remembered the last line of the letter. "If you're brave enough, stay." Armand looked at the chest, then at the door. He had a choice: run away or stay and find the truth. He took a deep breath and stepped forward. Arman stood frozen in the middle of the room. The soft sound of footsteps upstairs had stopped. The house was silent again, but the silence felt heavy, like it was hiding something. He looked back at the chest. Inside, the red cloth still waited. Slowly, with shaking hands, he unwrapped it. Inside was an old photograph. His mother, younger, smiling, holding a baby. Next to her was a woman with the same face, but her eyes looked different, sad, tired. Behind them was the house he was standing in now. "Who is she?" he whispered. There were no names on the back. Just one sentence written in faded ink. "Forgive me, sister." Arman sat on the floor, confused. His mother had never mentioned a sister. Why would she hide someone so close? He searched the rest of the chest. There were more letters, old and torn, written in the same handwriting. He opened one. The first line made his heart beat faster. "I'm sorry I left you that night. I had no choice." Before he could read more, a sudden sound made him jump. Knock, knock, 2 soft knocks, from upstairs. He stood up, heart racing, and looked at the ceiling. The room above was completely dark. Slowly, he walked out of the bedroom and climbed the old wooden stairs. Each step made a creaking sound. The air grew colder. The hallway was long with several doors, but one door at the end was different. It was made of dark wood and had strange symbols carved into it. He reached it and tried the handle. Locked. Arman looked closer. There were scratch marks on the door, like someone had tried to open it long ago. Suddenly, he heard something fall inside the room, a soft thud, like a book or a picture frame. He stepped back, breathing hard. "Is someone there?" he called. "No, answer." He ran downstairs and searched the house for a key. Drawers, shelves, under the bed, nothing. Then he remembered the chest. He went back and checked under the cloth where the letters had been, and there it was, a small, rusty key, with nervous fingers. He took it and returned to the locked room. He placed the key into the lock. It fit perfectly. Click. The door opened slowly with a long creaking sound. A smell of dust and something else, old perfume, hit his nose. It was a child's room, small bed, toys, a rocking chair in the corner. The wallpaper had faded, but it had pictures of stars and moons. On the wall, a name was written in soft blue paint. Sarah. Arman stepped inside. Everything was still, but it didn't feel peaceful. It felt abandoned. There were books on the shelf, stuffed animals on the bed, and a baby sweater on the floor covered in dust. Arman's eyes stopped at a small picture frame on the table. He picked it up and wiped the glass. It was the same woman from the photo, his mother's sister. She was holding a baby. The name Sarah was written below. Suddenly, the rocking chair moved, slowly, back and forth. Arman stepped back. "Who are you?" he whispered to the air. "What happened in this room?" He looked under the bed and found a small box. Inside, it were tiny shoes, a rattle, and a broken necklace. He picked up the necklace. A name was written on the pendant. Zara. Now he was confused. Zara, not Sarah. He opened a drawer in the small table. Inside was a notebook, drawn in a child's handwriting. One page had a strange sentence, written many times. "She never came back. I waited. I waited. I waited." A chill ran through his body. Was this written by the baby when she grew up? Or was it written by someone else? The window behind him slammed shut suddenly. Arman turned. No wind, no open doors. He grabbed the notebook and ran downstairs. He sat near the chest, breathing hard, holding the necklace and the book. He tried to make sense of everything. His mother had a sister. That sister had a child. That child's name was Zara, or Sarah, and something bad had happened in that room. He opened another letter from the chest. This one was shorter. "Dear Zara, I hope one day you understand. I was not brave. I was scared. I left you in that room because I thought it was safe. But I never came back. And that is the biggest sin of my life. Please forgive me. Amma Arman's hand dropped the letter. Zara. Could it be? Was Zara his mother's child? Or was it his mother's sister's child? Who was left behind in the locked room? Arman looked up the stairs. The house had too many questions, and he had no answers yet. But one thing was clear. His mother had hidden something terrible, and he had just opened the door to it. Arman sat on the old wooden floor, surrounded by letters, dust, and silence. His heart felt heavy. The more he learned, the more he realized how little he knew about his mother. She had always been strong. Quiet, yes, but never cold. She loved him with all her heart, but behind her gentle smile, she had been hiding something painful. He picked up the letter again. Dear Zara, I was not brave. I was scared. I left you in that room because I thought it was safe. But I never came back. 3. Words cut deep. Was Zara her daughter or her sister's? He remembered how his mother would sometimes sit in her room, staring out of the window. Sometimes he'd see her holding a small necklace. Once he asked her about it. She said, "Some memories are too heavy to speak." Now he understood what she meant. He decided to sleep in the house that night. It was not just curiosity anymore. It was a need to know, a need to understand his mother, to forgive her. Or maybe to help her forgive herself. He lay on the dusty sofa with the letters beside him. The house creaked and groaned like it was alive. The wind whispered through the cracks in the windows. Around midnight, Arman woke up. A sound pulled him from his sleep. Crying. Soft, quiet sobs. A child's voice. Coming from upstairs. He froze. Was he dreaming? He sat up, holding the old notebook he had found earlier. The last page had a drawing, a little girl standing alone. Outside a door, under the drawing, it said, "I waited for Amma. She didn't come." Tears welled up in Arman's eyes. He grabbed the notebook and went upstairs again. This time the door to the locked room was already open. The rocking chair was moving, just like before, but this time there was a new sound. Humming. A soft lullaby. He stepped in. "Who are you?" he whispered, voice shaking. "Zara? Sarah? Are you still here?" No answer. But the air felt heavy, like someone was listening. He placed the notebook gently on the bed. "I found this," he said. "I don't know what happened to you, but I want to know. I want to help." The humming stopped. A cold breeze passed through the room, though no window was open. Suddenly, the picture frame on the table fell to the ground. The glass cracked. Arman bent to pick it up and noticed something behind it. Another photo. This, one hidden in the back. He pulled it out. It was a photo of 2 girls, twins. One of them was clearly his mother. The other must have been her sister. Both were holding the same necklace, the one he found in the chest. He flipped the photo. Zara. And Zoya, aged 12. Zoya. So that was his mother's name. And Zara was her sister, not her daughter. Everything became a little clearer now. His mother, Zoya, had a twin sister named Zara. The letters were written to her, not about her. The room, the toys, the drawings. This was Zara's room. But what happened? To her? He returned to the chest and searched again. Beneath the bottom layer, he found one last envelope. It was sealed in wax. On it, one word was written, the truth. He opened it with trembling hands. Dear Arman, if you are reading this, it means you found her room. You found the place I tried to forget. Zara was my twin, my other half. When we were 16, something happened. Something terrible. Our father, he was not the man people thought he was. He hurt Zara, and I couldn't stop him. One night we tried to run. I told her to hide in this room while I got help, but I never made it back in time. When I returned, she was gone. The window was open. Her necklace was on the floor, and she was never seen again. People said she ran away, but in my heart, I knew. Something else happened. I searched for years. I never found her. I married. I had you. But I never stopped hearing her voice in my dreams. This house holds her, memories, maybe even her spirit. And now, I pass this truth to you. Please forgive me for hiding this. I was ashamed. I was broken, but you have the right to know. Love, Amma, Zoya. Armand's hands dropped to his lap. He sat in silence. So this was the truth. His mother had lived with this pain all her life. Not because she did something wrong, but because she couldn't save. The one person she loved the most. He looked up at the ceiling and whispered, Zara, if you're still here, I'm sorry. Amma never stopped loving you. The wind blew gently through the hallway. Somewhere in the distance, a soft laugh echoed, or maybe it was just the wind. But in Armand's heart, something had changed. The pain was still there, but now there was understanding. The morning sun tried to shine through the dusty windows, but the house still felt cold. Armand didn't sleep much. He spent the whole night sitting on the floor, holding his mother's last letter. His heart was heavy. His mother, Zoya, had carried so much pain. And now, her past was his to understand. And maybe to heal. But there were still questions. Zara had vanished that night. Their father had done something terrible. And now, Armand was inside the same house where it all happened. As he cleaned the chest again, something caught his eye. A photo had fallen between the cracks at the bottom of the chest. He reached in and pulled it out. It was an old black-and-white photograph. 3 people stood in front of the house. 2 young girls, Zoya and Zara, and behind them, a tall man with sharp eyes and a cold face. Their father. Armand stared at the man. He had never seen this face before. His mother never spoke about her father. No photos, no memories. She had erased him from her life. Now he understood why. The man looked strict, almost cruel. Even in the photo, his eyes gave a strange feeling, like he was watching. Behind the photo, a small paper was folded and hidden. Armand opened it carefully. It was a hospital report. Patient name, Zara, age, 16. Injury, bruises and marks on arms. Visitor, name, Zoya. Doctor's note, patient seems scared, refuses to speak. Armand's hands shook. Zara had been hurt, and Zoya had taken her to the hospital. But the truth had been hidden. Why didn't anyone help them? Why didn't the system protect them? He looked back at the photo of the man. He needed to know more about him. Armand decided to visit the village elder, the same old man who had warned him about the house earlier. He walked to the village tea stall and found him sitting on a bench, sipping chai. Baba Ji, Armand said respectfully. Did you know a man named Nawaz who used to live in the big house? The old man froze. He slowly placed his cup down and looked up. Nawaz, he whispered. That man was a devil. Armand sat beside him. He was my grandfather. The old man looked shocked. I didn't know Zoya had a son, he said. She left this village long ago. What do you know about Nawaz? Armand asked. The old man sighed. He was respected in public, a teacher, a kind face. But inside his house, no one knew what really happened. His wife died young. People said it was sickness, but I never believed it. Did anyone try to stop him? Armand asked. No one had proof, and back then people didn't speak of such things. He controlled everything with fear. His daughters. They always looked sad. I once saw the younger one, Zara, with bruises. She looked like she wanted to scream but couldn't. Armand's heart ached. What happened after the girls ran away? He asked. They didn't run far, the man said. Only Zoya returned later, to take some things. After that, the house stayed empty. Some said they saw a girl at the window, but when they went to look, there was no one. Armand's hands clenched. She was left behind, alone. The man nodded sadly. Yes, and the man, Nawaz, was found dead one morning. Heart attack, they said. But some believe the house didn't forgive him. Armand stood up. He had heard enough. The truth was clear now. His grandfather had hurt his own daughters. Zoya escaped, but never healed. Zara never got out. He walked back to the house. It felt darker than before, like the walls had heard the truth and were tired of hiding it. He returned to Zara's room and placed the photo of Nawaz on the table. "This is him," he said aloud. "I know now. I know what he did, and I swear the world won't forget." As soon as he said those words, the window creaked open by itself. A soft breeze entered. The necklace on the bed moved slightly, like someone touched it. Armand felt it, a presence, but not angry, not sad. It felt lighter, like someone was listening. He opened the notebook again and turned to the last page. New words were written in childlike handwriting, though Armand had not written them. "Thank you for hearing me." His eyes filled with tears. She had waited for years, alone, silent, afraid. But now, someone had finally listened. Armand knelt beside the bed. "I will tell your story," he whispered. "The world will know. You were real. You were loved. And maybe, just maybe, she could finally rest." The sun had started to set when Armand returned to the house. A golden light spread across the wooden floor, but the shadows still felt long, deeper. He walked upstairs again, this time not with fear but with purpose. Zara had spoken to him, not with words, but through signs, through her room. The drawings, the notebook. And now, those final words. "Thank you for hearing me." Armand placed the photo of Nawaz, his grandfather, in a drawer. It didn't deserve to be seen anymore. Instead, he searched the room again. He felt something was still missing. Something Zara had hidden, not from fear, but to protect her truth. He moved to the bed, lifting the mattress. Nothing. He tapped on the wooden floor. Knock, knock, hollow. He pried the board up with a small tool from the kitchen. Underneath was a space filled with dust and old fabric. He reached in and pulled something out. It was wrapped in cloth, soft, carefully protected. He unwrapped it. A leather-bound diary. Old but still strong. The name on the first page was written, in neat, small letters, Zara. His heart pounded. He sat down on the bed, took a deep breath, and opened the first page. "June 14 today, Zoya told me to be brave. She said she'll always protect me, but sometimes I feel scared when Baba looks at me. His eyes. They are not kind anymore. June 22, Baba shouted at me again, for dropping a glass. He held my arm too tight. It hurts, but I didn't cry. Zoya hugged me after. She says we'll leave one day. I hope that day comes soon." July 3rd heard Baba talking to someone on the phone. He said he would fix me. I don't know what that means, but I don't want to be here anymore. I wish Amma was still alive. July 5, Zoya and I made a plan. We will run away tomorrow night. She said to pack only what I need. My books, my necklace, and my diary. I'm scared, but I trust her. July 6, she told me to hide in my room. She said she would go get help. She kissed my forehead and promised she would return. I waited and waited and waited. Armand turned the page slowly. His eyes burned with tears. She never left that room. She never stopped believing Zoya would come back, even when the window broke, even when she heard footsteps that weren't her sister's. She still waited. July 7. It's dark. I hear footsteps outside my door. I don't think it's Zoya. I'm hiding under my bed. I want to scream, but my voice feels stuck in my throat. July 8. I'm still here. I think he's gone. But I'm afraid. What if he comes back? July 9. No one is coming. I think something happened to Zoya, or maybe Baba found her. I don't know anymore. Armand couldn't read more. He placed the diary on his lap and covered his face with his hands. Zara was just a girl, a child, and no one saved her. She was hurt, silenced, and forgotten. Until now. He took a deep breath and opened the final page. There, in the same soft handwriting, was the last entry. To whoever finds this, if you are reading this, I hope you are kind. I was not bad. I was not weak. I was just a girl who waited for her sister. I don't know what happened to her, but I forgive her. She tried. Please don't let this house forget me. Please tell someone I was here. Tell them I was real. Tell them I was Zara. Armand closed the diary and held it close to his heart. He whispered, softly, I will tell the world. I promise. He stood up and placed the diary on the table beside the necklace. Then he lit a candle and let its soft light fill the room. The rocking chair didn't move. The air felt still, but in his heart, he knew Zara had finally spoken, and her voice would no longer be lost. The candlelight flickered gently in Zara's old room. Armand sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the small diary in front of him. Her words still echoed in his mind. Tell them I was real. He had seen. Enough to believe that Zara's spirit still lived inside this house, not in fear anymore, but in longing, for peace, for love, for truth. Suddenly, a cold gust of wind moved through the room. The candle's flame danced wildly, then steadied. Armand stood up and looked around. That's when he noticed the mirror on the wall. It was old, framed with wood, slightly cracked on the side. He hadn't paid much attention to it before. But tonight, it looked different. As he stepped closer, he saw something that made his breath catch. A faint handprint, small, like a child's, right in the center of the mirror. He reached out to touch it, but the glass felt colder than ice. He pulled his hand, back quickly, then something else. His reflection didn't move right. When he stepped to the side, it hesitated, just for a second. His heart pounded. Zara, he whispered, voice trembling. The room went still. In the mirror, behind his reflection, a soft blur started to appear. It became clearer, slowly, like fog fading from glass. It was the shape of a young girl, long hair, a pale face, sad eyes. She wasn't scary. She looked lost. Armand turned around quickly, but no one was there. He looked back at the mirror. The girl was still there. This time, she raised her hand slowly and touched the glass from the other side. Armand swallowed his fear and raised his hand too. Their fingers met at the surface, separated only by the cold glass. I see you, Armand whispered. I believe you. Her eyes seemed to soften. Suddenly the mirror cracked, not loudly, but like a slow sigh. A single line split the glass where their fingers touched. The girl faded, and in her place, words began to form on the mirror. Is not gone. Armand stepped back, confused. What? Who isn't gone? The letters slowly melted away, like mist. Then came another message. The man, He's still here. Armand's chest tightened. She was talking about Nawaz. But how could that be? He was dead. Gone years ago. Unless the house held more than just Zara's spirit. Maybe something darker remained. Zara had waited for love and truth. But Nawaz's shadow had never left. Armand grabbed the diary again and flipped through the pages. Then he noticed something he missed before. A page near the end had 2 lines drawn across it in red ink. It looked like a floor plan, and under it, Zara had written, "The basement." He hid it all there. The basement? Armand hadn't seen any door. Like that. He ran downstairs and searched the hallway, tapping on the wooden panels. He moved behind the old curtain near the kitchen, and there it was, a trap door, hidden under a dusty rug. His fingers trembled as he pulled it open. Dark stairs led into pitch black. He grabbed a flashlight from his bag and began to descend, one slow step at a time. The air grew colder with each step, heavy, like it hadn't been breathed in years. At the bottom, the room opened into a small stone basement. It smelled of mold and secrets. He shined the light around. Broken shelves, old jars. Rotten wood, then he saw it, a box, locked with an old chain. He bent down and opened it with the key he found in Zara's chest earlier. Inside were videotapes, dozens of them, all marked with dates, and on each one, the name Nawaz written in bold red ink. Armand's stomach turned. He didn't need to watch them to know what they held. Proof. Proof of his grandfather's evil. Proof of why Zara cried in her diary. Why Zoya never spoke of her past. Why the house had remained silent all these years. He stood up, heart racing, and then he heard it. A voice, low, cold, behind him. "You shouldn't have come here." He spun around. No one. But the basement door, above, creaked shut. The flashlight flickered, and in the corner of the room, a shadow moved. A tall figure, sharp eyes, a cold face. Nawaz, or whatever was left of him, not alive, but not fully gone. Armand ran up the stairs, gripping the tapes in his hand. He pushed the trapdoor open and burst into the hallway, gasping. The house groaned. But something else had changed. Zara's voice, soft and clear, whispered through the air. "Thank you." He knew then. Zara was free. But something evil still lingered, and Armand had a final promise to keep. He would take the tapes, tell the story, expose the truth, and put the past to rest forever. The night outside was silent, but inside the house, Armand's heart beat like thunder. He stood at the door of the basement, clutching the box of videotapes in his arms. His breath was heavy. His shirt was damp with sweat. Behind him, the cold voice still echoed in his ears. "You shouldn't have come here." But it was too late now. He had come. He had seen, and now he had proof. Zara's story was no longer trapped inside the walls of that house. Armand walked outside into the fresh air, shaking. He placed the box in his car and looked back at the house one last time. It stood tall, but tired, like a secret finally told. That night, he couldn't sleep. He watched one tape, just one, and that was enough. His grandfather, Nawaz, had hidden his cruelty behind silence and power. But the camera didn't lie. Tears rolled down Armand's face. He didn't cry just for Zara anymore. He cried for Zoya, for the years she stayed silent, for the broken family that never had a chance to heal. The next morning, Armand drove straight to the city police department. He handed them the tapes, the diary, and the hospital report. Everything. He told them the full story, Zoya's letter, the haunted house, the whisper in the mirror. They didn't believe everything, but the tapes spoke louder than words. An officer said quietly, "We'll open a cold case. It may be late, but the truth deserves light." That night, news reporters came. They called it the House of Silence, a forgotten case, a cruel man. 2 sisters, and a grandson brave enough to uncover the past. But Armin didn't want attention. He didn't want interviews or praise. He only wanted peace, for Zara, and forgiveness, for Zoya, and maybe for himself. The next week he returned, to the village for one last time. He carried 2 things with him: Zara's diary and her necklace. He walked through the front door of the house, now quiet again. No whispers, no shadows, just memories. He entered Zara's room and sat down. The mirror was still cracked, but calm. The bed was made. The drawings still hung on the wall like silent songs.